Hi guys, here's this image. So there's a couple things I see with this image. I'm gonna zoom in here just so you can see better what I'm talking about. So the first thing I see with this image is it's a little soft. It's not 100% in focus. And I think that this has to do with your aperture. So aperture controls depth of field. So if we want an entire image in focus, the best way to ensure that we can have the entire image in focus is to shoot with a higher f-stop or a narrow depth of field, which means that you should really, on an image such as this, I'll zoom back out, on an image such as this, you're just, you don't really have anything where you need to utilize depth of field, really. So it's not like you're taking a picture of a person and you want some separation between them and the background. So really, you can shoot at a higher aperture because you don't need that shallow depth of field that's going to create that nice bokeh. And so what's happening in this image is you have the image is soft because it's really difficult to focus an entire image at such a shallow depth of field. So what I would do here is I would bump up your f-stop a couple stops. So um, now your camera might stop up differently than mine does, but you're probably going to want to at least be around like 2.5, 2.8. And then to compensate, because this is a fairly well exposed image, so you want to compensate with probably lowering your shutter speed a little bit and maybe bumping up your ISO to 200 or maybe just a tinge higher. And and that is going to help get this entire shirt in focus. So that's the first problem we have here. The second problem we have here, zooming back in on this, is we have these color fringes. And this is partially due to having your aperture set so low and partially due just to like how wavelengths reflect and stuff. It's like pretty complicated and I don't need to go into all of that. I'm just going to show you how to fix it. So this will happen from time to time. Typically the better glass you have or lens you have, the less chance you have of this happening. But you have what I'm assuming is a 35 millimeter prime, and that's a very good lens. So, I would say that this is just going to happen to you from time to time, and it's a quick fix. So the first thing I'm actually going to do before I fix this is I'm actually going to go back, and I see you use the gray card, so kudos on that. I'm going to white balance this. I'm just going to click on my your gray card there and white balance it, and this will actually help me with fixing this color fringe. And I'm going to zoom back in, and I want to zoom in pretty close here, and I'm going to move this just a tad, and you can do all of this, like I said, you can do all of this in Lightroom. But I'm going to start here with this because it looks like you have just a kind of a couple different shades of the fringe. So I'm going to zoom in real close here on this green fringe. And the way we're going to fix this is we're going to go to our lens corrections. Now, in Lightroom, you have the different modules at the top. So you have library, develop, blah, blah, blah. You want to be in the develop module, and in Lightroom, instead of having tabs up here, you basically just scroll down forever. So you're going to scroll down until you see the area that says lens correction. And there might be a thing that says remove chromatic, sorry. Okay. So there'll be this, and you want to check that. I don't think in Lightroom you have the tabs between profile and manual, but you'll see sliders that look like this. And here I'm going to fix this green fringe here. And what you want to do is you want to tell it you don't want the green amount. And then the other thing you want to do is you kind of want to match the color of fringing that you have. So this fringing had a little bit of blue in it. So I'm going to move this over to kind of get rid of some of that blue. And then, you just keep going until, and there might still be a little bit of fringing, but as you can see, it's much better. So you just want to get the color ranges in there and just play around with the sliders until you stop, until most of that fringe is gone. Now then there's also a little bit of like purplish red fringing. I'm going to zoom back out here. It was kind of up here. As you can see, the picture already looks better. But I know in kind of the top part of this image, there's a little bit of like purple reddish fringing, just a tiny bit. So we want to just remove that. And okay. So we got rid of the fringing there. And that looks a lot better already, because before the white kind of looked like it was almost bleeding with the black. The other thing I'm going to do here to this image is I just like to do this trick with my exposure, just to give overall good contrast here. So I take my black slider and I bump it just till you start to see some of that blue, for the shadow, for the shadow clipping warning. And then you're going to do the same thing with the whites for your highlight clipping warnings. And that just gives it kind of a good overall exposure. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open this image into Photoshop, and I'm going to run, I'm just going to sharpen it a little bit. Now, this image isn't perfectly in focus, so, it's not going to be a complete fix, but it will help it look a little sharper, a little bit crisper. All right, so I have this image in Photoshop. There's other stuff that you can do in Photoshop. This image is actually pretty good, so I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to sharpen it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate my background. And I'm going to do that just by pulling this down to the little new layer thing. And you can also press Control J or on a PC, or Command J on a Mac to duplicate your background. And then I'm going to go to Filter, Other, and High Pass. So when you're looking at this image, anything here where, see in the close up here, anything here where it kind of gives that black outline, it's going to sharpen up those edges. I like to stay between 1.5 and 2.5. Since this is a little soft, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to go with 2.5 for our radius. And then you just click OK. And that's going to look really weird, and you're going to be like, why did you make me do that? Well, what we need to do is we need to change the blend mode on this. So here where it says normal, those are your blend modes, and we're just going to go down from normal, and we're going to make it go to overlay. And I'll zoom in here to show you what it does. So when it's off, you can see these edges are kind of soft. And so what it did was it just cleaned up those edges and made it look a little sharper there. So that looks pretty good. And then you would just save it. And, this image isn't perfect, but I mean, I think zoomed out like this, cropped square or whatever for Instagram, it's going to be okay to use. But, just next time I would, so this, just to show you. But next time I would just watch your aperture and just bump it up a couple stops so you have it more in focus. But really, this image doesn't look horrible. It is a little soft, but I mean, it would be fine for something, to post on Instagram or whatever. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you learned some cool tricks, and thanks for watching. Bye.